Lumina-san! Welcome back for another round of Dun 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 research. Yes, last episode we were introduced to acrobatic Sada Sada or acrobatic Silky for the English tropes translations. Um, Ira managed to get her hands on one of Ken's testicles. Unaware of what the golden ball is capable of doing, it unlocked her spiritual awareness, and she ended up believing that Momo was a demon or a witch of some type with a familiar, which turned out to be an acrobatic Silky, who mistakes Ira for her daughter. As I had noted before, I am very, very, very much ahead of the anime. The current chapter is out this week, and I have not read it yet. That's how far ahead I am of the anime. I'm in real time, and I can assure you, if this is the episode, um, if this is the episode, it's gonna be a very tough watch because reading it in the manga was very tough. So we'll soon find out. We'll soon find out. But yeah, comment, like, subscribe, follow, and hit the notification bell. And let's start with the reaction. There we go. Start with the reaction. I can't tell if it's animated, CGI, or live action. That's pretty interesting. Oh dang. Bringing out the big weapons here. Now that's tough running with your hands handcuffed like that. Oh! He's trying to get that momentum. Yeah. There's too much tricky terrain for him to go full speed. Oh gosh, the nails kind of freaked me out there. I thought it was gonna like snap off or something. Oh, tangled. Yeah, Momo's getting better. I mean, even with her hands tied, she could be able to fling her arms. Ooh, nice save. My man pulled off the Luigi torpedo from Smash Brothers. Wow, just destroyed everything. Turbo Baba don't like that. By the way, can you check on those two girls, Ira's friends? Even though they're probably dead. She dead, Jim.
超能力でなら直で心臓マッサージできるっしょ。
Impressive, huh?
ババアは救急車呼んで。ムーコのスマホあるでしょ。無駄なこと。もう一回。
She said 911, didn't she? Can't have a 911?
私のアイラ。
てめえ今それどこじゃねえんだよ。
それよりもいい方法があるわ。オーラは生物にとって電池のようなものなの。電池がなければモーターは動かないでしょ。
誰がてめえの言うこと信じんだよ。
Dang.
あいつが言ってることは本当だぜ。オーラがなきゃその女はこのままさ。
わかる。もう一回本気使えるよね。あいつをロックオンしといて。あんたのオーラでバカ女のオーラを補うってそう言ったでしょ。
あなたの超能力で私のオーラとアイラの消えかかったオーラをつないで、いわば通信ケーブルのようにね。
So much world building in this.
行くよ。
Yeah, here we go. Oh, there's dialogue in this? Yeah, I'm probably gonna be very silent. Oh, it's Acro Silky's outfit there. Oh man. No, that was and for her that was tough to look her daughter in the face. Working all these different jobs. Man. Man, the kid doesn't even understand. Wow, yeah, wow, this collage of pictures. Man, she got her the acrobatic Silky's dress. Man, this is capturing the whole moment way better than the manga. The camera movement, the angles, the animation. Yeah. Ooh. Damn. Oh, right in the eye. Damn. Yeah. Oh man. Just like that. Gosh, man. It's even rougher seeing it animated. And again, this live action fused with animation. This is just amazing how they're just showing this panic, this horror. Damn. Here we are. Oh man. Oh man. Damn, the animation. Are they gonna show it all the way through, or are they gonna pause at that point? Wow, they didn't show the panel? Wow.
何か大切なものをなくした気がする。
お母さん。
Ira.
アイラ。一人でどっか行っちゃダメじゃないか。ずっ
Yeah.
と帰ってこないよ。
アイラはちゃんと自慢できる子になる。
Ira wants a mother. The mother wants her daughter.
アイラ。
And because she can't see her daughter in her
私
memories.
はアイラのお母さんだったんだ。
Mm.
私が。ももちゃん、どうした？あいつに何かされた？妙な動きしたからやっていいんだよな。
待って。
Yeah.
やめて。お願い。
She saw the truth.
ごめんなさい、アイラ。私は自分の感情すらコントロールできない。ただの化け物になっちゃった。
ねえ、あいつどんどん崩れてるけどどうなっちゃうの？
言ったろ、オーラは電池だ。なくなれば死ぬ
Wow.
さ。
Yeah.
しかもこいつは未練を残したままだ。成仏はできねえな。
Damn.
それってどうなるの？
無駄。何もなくなる。こいつはどの世界にも存在しなかったことになる。聖者からも死者からも全てから忘れ
It's
られ
like
る。
Coco. What
まあ
happened to
ど
the
う
old
せろ
guy
くで
in
もない
Coco?
人生さ。
そんなのってないよ。強すぎるじゃんかよ。なんかないの？あの人成仏させるためのなんか。
無理だ。成仏できるかどうかはそいつの心の問題だ。
That was amazing. The way her eyes were twitching. Ira's eyes were twitching.
もっと可愛い服買ってあげたかった。もっとたくさん遊んであげればよかった。もっとちゃんともっと私のところに生まれてこなければ幸せだったろうに。ごめんなさい。
Hmm.
お母さん、愛してる。宇宙で一番幸せだったから。どうか誰も彼女たちを傷つけたりしない。
Damn.
幸せで優しい世界へ。
What a shot.
忘れない絶対。
Hey, I'm here with an addendum, everybody. I got the copyright block on this one for episode 7. The scene in question happens at the 11:07 mark of the research video from 11:07 to 11:25. Blocked once again by the old Netflix. This scene here was after Acro Silky had died, and Ira met the ghost, and basically it was such a contextualized moment that I had to that I didn't really get to do much reacting onto it, especially because it was after the whole thing with Acro Silky's death, acrobatic Silky's death. And so I was kind of like in a very, very quiet moment, and I edited a lot of that part, that whole entire section up, so that way I could still maintain the context of what was going to happen in the following scene. But for some reason, that was considered a tag, so it's unfortunate, because that was the first encounter between the two of them, and was a very, very important scene. but of course, it was also a very poignant moment, quiet scene, because it was post acrobatic Silky's death. That was just pretty overwhelming. I could tell you that much. So yeah, that's what I was. That was what I had reacted to, and the whole scene is officially cut off in the main video. So hopefully, this will help help you all understand what it was that I reacted to. So I just want to take the time to, because this is a re-upload, thank all 781 viewers. I kid you not. It's right here, if you could see it. Here's episode 7. Here's 781 and 18 likes. And the 2 commenters. I really appreciate all of your views and your support. And I'm glad that you enjoyed my initial research reaction to Dandadan episode 7. Okay, this next one is actually very, very tricky to edit because this one also got copyright blocked. As you can see, this was between the 503 and 539 mark. This was when they decided to perform CPR on Ira, and the problem is, and what makes it very hard, is that I need the context that that they're performing CPR, because she says to Granny, Turbo Granny, to call 911, to call an ambulance. But I reacted to it saying, "Isn't that 911?" To which then I put some captions up saying, "No, pay attention" later on. But without this context, it'll make no sense with the captions happening. So this was a very tricky thing to edit, to cut down, so that way the context can be there for when the captions pop up and I start saying, didn't she say 911? That's the key thing, because it's kind of a weird reaction to say without the part of Momo saying call an ambulance. So that's the extent of it. I'm not sure why that was considered black or anything. I don't know. What I do know is that I had to try not to cut the whole thing out, or else it wouldn't make any sense. So hopefully, the context will hold up. All right, the next scene had to go through a lot of edits, because this was over a minute and a half, and that's something I couldn't completely wipe out. This was the scene where Acro Silky and her daughter get attacked and everything. This is basically the whole flashback scene. It was pretty difficult to just sit there and wipe out the whole thing. Can't really do that, especially because this was me reacting to the animation, because when I saw it in the manga, it was very rough. You know what I'm saying? It was very emotional, and then to see it animated, hearing the screaming, the sadness, the reaction, the sound effects, it was just really brutal to witness and to watch completely, leading up, of course, to the big scene where I was just in complete and total silence, because it was pretty it was just fantastic how it all came together and everything, but equally, like I couldn't even tell the animation here. It was amazing that the animation looked realistic, looked like live action, but it really wasn't. And so getting, cutting these up a lot was very difficult the first time around because I didn't want to lose any of my reactions to it. And not only that, but also the context and everything. So so it was pretty difficult, and it still was difficult. So I did the best I could, bringing it all down, and hopefully it turned out for the best, without losing everything that you all come to expect from the whole thing. Okay, the next clip that had to be re-edited for this upload, for this re-upload, was immediately after follow-up scene in the flashback where Ira is watching her mother get buried, and her father was talking to her. I did react to that one, pointing out, as you can see here once more, our good friends at Netflix. Ira is watching on her father, explain the whole thing. You see that the doors are closing. She's saying that she would be a good girl, waving goodbye. Very short, very straightforward. I kind of pointed out a little something, an observation to that. And of course, Acrobatic Silky realized it, and that's when she started to get her memories. So that was what I was reacting to in that scene. That scene there, because I pointed out that Acrobatic Silky was looking for a daughter, and Ira was looking for a mother. It was a very simple observation. It was a very sad scene, seeing the two connecting with each other. So that's basically what happened. Some of it got so I was able to do some of the edits and everything. Hopefully it'll work out without cutting off the whole scene, because it was a very important scene in the story and worthy of being reacted to and so on. Okay, this is this is getting hilarious. So from that same scene where Ira and her father buried her mother, and then we get that whole scene with her waving goodbye to Acrobatic Silky. Yeah, now it's the copyright is saying these scenes past it are also a problem. Oh my gosh! So our good friends Netflix, just really have it in on this. So this is the so this was edited a little bit. I was able to edit this up. And cut through. Was able to cut through and jump right to her waving. Now all of a sudden, all of this along here is considered unacceptable. So it's just you can see how fast the cuts start to happen right here and dropping down and everything. And then yeah, I mean, there was a lot cut here, especially trying to maintain as much context as possible. It's very, very difficult, trying to edit this while keeping the context. You don't want the things to be out of context. I certainly don't want things out of context, but it's extraordinarily tricky trying to understand what is that the copyright is looking for when editing everything down to get to the required standards. Hopefully this will work. Once you if you have already finished if you've watched it this far. Yeah, this is some next level craziness here. So we'll see what happens. Thank you very much. Hey, let's open this up with some research, and then we'll discuss what happened this episode. So there was a couple of things that I wanted to actually look into. That was that was pretty interesting. These are a couple of well, we're going to talk about the tropes, and we're going to talk about a little slang culture. Let's start off first with the luminous blush. You've probably seen this a lot. These little blushes and everything. And if you've noticed throughout Dandadan, Okurun and Momo tend to have this little blush, luminescent effect around their faces. It's called the luminescent blush. From TV tropes, they explain when embarrassed or otherwise deeply affected emotionally, a character will exhibit a dark red blush just under the eyes, usually crossing under the bridge of their noses. In more humorous works, their entire face may turn red to the point of that it's glowing hot. And the reason why I pointed this out is because we see this um, in the opening, particularly in the opening. Let's see here. At the very end, if you've noticed that the two of them, where are you at? Here we go. Right here at the end. Here we are. They got a very light blush around the nose. They have a very glow to it. If you notice, they do have a bit of a glow. Let me zoom in on that. You know, you can see it around their noses, how red it is, and that whole big uh, aesthetic. Usually, you see that with romance manga, especially on the cover pages, on the covers of romance romance manga. Um, Basically, this conveys what Dandadan primarily is a romance with sci-fi elements to it, basically. But as you can see, they are depicted, especially at times, especially when they're in school dealing with how they feel about each other. They always come out blushing. They tend to have a glow to them at times. You can see a bit of the glow, and you can see on their noses, on the bridge of their noses, the redness. Um, that's basically the trope of the luminescent glow. Um, it's very prevalent, especially in romance. Um, in romance, it's it occurs characters who are more or less innocent too, because if you've noticed their behavior towards each other, it's very playful. They do have arguments. They basically have chemistry, and they do go through a lot of arguments with each other. But once they start showing some level of affection to each other, you start seeing, you know, like some noticeable interest. You know, like Okuru's like, oh, Momo's cute. All of a sudden, he's like got that glow blush. Or when Momo's friends tease her, you know, she starts developing that light blush, especially when they're around each other. Um, you know, it's not something. It's not. It's pretty. It's pretty much. How you say? Very. You know what? I lost that train of thought. Sorry about that. Oh man. Mm, oh man. But yeah, that's basically why we see them blush a lot. That's the trope used in anime, um, uh, which is the luminescent blush. You'll see that a lot. You'll see that a whole lot in anime, especially in romance. Um, Now another thing that's interesting, and this is gonna get very interesting, but yeah, this the MacGuffins plural happens to be Okurun's nuts. He lost them thanks to Turbo Baba, and Yeah, they're on the quest to find them. That's the whole entire series. That's the whole entire series. But why this aesthetic? Well, culturally speaking, Kintama is a slang term balls. Uh, for balls, but most importantly, um, it is also shown uh, in tanukis and tanuki statues. There is a cultural meaning behind that too. The kintama, as it's known as, kin meaning gold, tama meaning ball, so it's gold ball. Um, I heard that that's a big time play in the manga anime series Gintama. That's something I'll probably have to do some research on. Man, but the Tanuki, which to which its cultural chutzpah happens to be attached to, is very exaggerated. It's humorously portrayed in art stores. The Tanuki is basically like the kitsune, when it's like a little trickster type of creature. Uh, let's see here. What they got to say on this here? Uh, its deep roots in the Katama meaning has deep roots in Japanese folklore, particularly through the tales of the Tanuki and mystical raccoon dog. This is coming from Tanuki Stories, tanukistories.jp. This was written by Marco, uh, and basically it's a mischievous shapeshifter. One of the most iconic characters of Tsuniki is its exaggerated magical um, fortitude. Humorously portrayed in art stories as being extraordinarily large and versatile. He needs to have that checked. These mystical Tanuki bolas are said to be used as drums, umbrellas, or even weapons, further enriching the Kintama meaning Japanese culture. This whimsical depiction has a practical backstory. Metalworkers in Kanazawa used tanuki skin to wrap gold during the hammering process to create thin sheets. The skin's durability allowed the gold to be stretched without breaking. This connection between kin no tama, a small bowl of gold, and kintama, um, cajones, solidified the playful Kintama meaning in both folklore and language. So, what's the context? Why has the Kintama meaning become such a memorable part of Japanese slang? It's a perfect example of how Japanese seamlessly blend humor, metaphor, and cultural depth. While it might seem crude at first glance, the term carries a lighthearted playfulness that's common in languages worldwide. Understanding the Kintama meaning provides insight into how Japanese culture uses language to balance the poetic with the everyday, and they love their poetry. Historical and symbolic significance. Let's see here. The symbolic depth. We already know the translation here. Oh, it's explained in the kanji. Okay, that's even bigger. The kanji for gold symbolizes something precious and valuable in Japanese culture, while the kanji for ball or jewel is associated with beauty and rarity. Combined, they evoke the image of something cherished and significant. This symbolic depth contrasts sharply with the modern casual use of katana, meaning making it both humorous and culturally layered. So, um, yeah, there's a bit to that. Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of depth to it. Spending a lot of time on this one though, compared to the Luminescent blush, but it does have its charm. But its meaning is tricky. As a foreigner living, navigating expressions like Kintama meaning can be tricky. So again, gotta context is very crucial in Japanese language. You have to be very careful using the word Kintama. You do not want to express that. Uh, it can be while it can be it might while it might elicit laughter among close friends or in comedic settings, it's not a term to be used in formal polite company. Yeah, see, you don't want to say that. It's still it's like their foul word. It's still their foul word. Learning when and where to use phrases like this is essential for understanding subtleties of Japanese culture. Respect for context is crucial, like I said. when exploring slang. The katana meaning is no exception. You have to be extraordinarily careful. Um, in Japanese, you have to be very careful how you speak. Um, you know, uh, you don't want to get lost in the translation, but most importantly, you don't want to accidentally offend when no offense is really being given. To begin with, you know, be ready to lay out a lot of bowing and apologizing if you screw up. uh, its ability to merge the poetic, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Um, Pretty funny, especially because it involves the Tanuki, and many Tanuki statues do get spotted up, especially um, with their uh, with their large mm, testes. And I'm running out of the thesaurus here. So yeah, so that's basically what we're dealing with here. Culturally speaking, there is a cultural meaning behind that with regards to Ken. Um, to put in perspective, to put this in perspective, it is a coming of age story, you know, and basically Okurun was very meek. He was bullied and everything, and because he basically allowed himself to get pushed around so much, or challenged, and especially challenged by Momo, um, yeah, he lost his balls. You know what I'm saying? Uh, he lost his right to manhood. And I don't mean right as in Right, but more as in Rite. You know, uh, saying that rite of passage, which is what he's basically going through. It's a baptism of fire, if you will. If he wants to be the man he believes he can be, and Momo expects him to be, he has to get his balls back. He has to develop the testicular fortitude to be a man, to be a man, and that's not easy. When you're looking for a pair of balls in a giant city, uh, it's a needle in a haystack, and they lucked out with Ira. And that's a tough one, and this is a tough one to do for this story, story wise. Let's talk. Let's put that also in perspective. You're talking about two spherical objects that doesn't have a Dragon Ball radar, and as the writer, as a writer, you gotta when you do something crazy like that, you have to allow leeway. And Ira getting the first golden ball looks, contrived. It may look contrived and coincidental, too coincidental. In this instance, given the situation, we're talking about two spherical objects being searched in a very, very large city. You have to allow leeway to be able to make the story progress. Unless you want to do something along the lines of Detective Conan, where Detective Conan doesn't get the cure after what 50 years of programming, thousands of chapters of manga, and still hasn't gotten the cure. Same with Rama One Half. They haven't solved the Jusenkyo Spring Curse situation after hundreds of episodes. And even Luffy with the One Piece. Luffy with the One Piece. Honestly, we're like 1133 chapters and he still hasn't found the One Piece. Uh, you can only do so much. You can only do so much. So yeah, starting off with the first one, very early, is a fair leeway. It's a fair leeway. Um, it is a fair leeway just so that way the story can move along and everything, and that there's some level of progression, and audiences and viewers will be accepting of that. So so long as the second one doesn't happen in a contrived and manner, coincidental and contrived manner. So yeah, yeah, it may seem a little sudden and weird that this far, this early into the story, the first ball is immediately discovered. But it's good because it at least allows one level of progression happening in the story, and most importantly, and most importantly allows room to for the second search, to be focused on the second search. Like we didn't sit for 100 chapters and 100 episodes just to get to the first ball and then have to spend the next 100. That would be very tiring, honestly, very tiring. So yeah, that was a good call. It was a good call in terms of writing. Just get it out of the way early, and then get focused on the whole thing. So which is to contrast, just to contrast. When I was writing, when I was first drafting Trucker no Bouken, I did a similar thing. I didn't want to waste time with a specific plot device, and I just did it in the second chapter, got it out of the way. I was like, be done with it, and let's focus on the main issue here, and not find ourselves getting sidetracked or caught in a B plot and such. So sometimes when you have to bring something early to prevent a story plot, a plot line from getting dragged out too long, do it as early as possible. Get it out of the way. Get it out of the way, even if it seems weird, contrived, coincidental. Um, you know, you know, make sure it's very clear why you're doing it, and the audience will understand it, and we'll let it be for pacing's sake and story's sake. So, yeah, yeah. Now let's do the review and talk about this episode. I told you this was going to be tough, and let me tell you something. I was caught off guard that they didn't even show that panel. And I'm not going to explain to you what the panel is. You read the manga and you'll see the panel. It's the last panel of that whole entire situation. And it was freaking, I was freaking shocked they didn't show that. But I think I can understand why they didn't show that. And I'm not going to show that because YouTube might not allow it. Saying the suicide scene. Um, you know, but the fact that they chose not to show that panel was pretty understandable. It was pretty understandable. It was a very shocking panel, uh, and the whole entire sequence was already shocking enough. And I think the animation, I guess the animators was like, yeah, let's not push the envelope on that one. But we pretty much get a couple of action scenes. We get a little chase. We see that Okurun can't really run at hyper speed when there's so many obstacles around. We find out, acrobatic Silky got tangled up in the chase and found out that Ira is dead, and they had to solve the whole issue, basically. And we find out an interesting world rule, that is that one, if an ordinary human being gets eaten by a demon, they are as good as dead. While those who are spiritually attuned, or have some kind of unique psychic power, like in the case of Momo with her psychic powers, and how you say, Okarun having the ghost powers. Um, yeah, you can survive that. You could actually survive that. Um, so it's pretty dangerous. Brings up to uh, this really brings up to grandma's granny's point about respecting the dead, and the dead, and of course the dead not attacking people. This is the result that she speaks of, and it's pretty it's pretty it's a pretty tight rule. It's a pretty tight rule, and it's very fascinating. It's very well executed. I'm trying to figure out the words here. You know, we're trying to figure out the words here, but it's pretty consistent. It's been very consistent. That's the word I was looking for. Consistent. It's a very consistent rule throughout this series, and and it holds up right here. We see an example of what will happen when the yokai gets to pull off something like eating up a person, and we see the two contrasts, and thus raising the stakes even more when dealing with yokai and other monsters. But yeah, acrobatic Silky is willing to sacrifice herself by doing a special connection uh, with Momo's psychic powers. You know what I'm saying? By grabbing the two auras and acting like a conduit between the two, like a link cable kind of thing, an HDMI cable sort of stuff. And acrobatic Silky gave her aura to Ira to resuscitate her. And that's when we go through the whole entire process. We have the unnamed mom that would become acrobatic Silky, um, having a very tough life, you know, managing multiple jobs, but not enough to sustain living, and thus resorted to prostitution. And her daughter completely unaware of what's happening, because she's giving her as much life as possible. Uh, clothes, food, places to go, and so on. Um, they're having the time of their lives and everything, and she actually does get her daughter the very dress that she ends up wearing as acrobatic Silky. Um, let's see here. Let me find it. Let me find it. Here we go. Is this it? Yeah, here it is. Um, as we can see here, this is the very same dress that acrobatic Silky wears. Her daughter wore that. Um, yeah, this was the animation. Not for nothing. It's just insane. Um, saying like it really. How can I explain this? The way that they've been doing animation throughout this series really has that very strong emotional torque, if you will. Like it really, um, it's the animation and the way that the camera movement is like a paragraph unto itself. Like, it's like a written paragraph. It's telling you the story so efficiently, and it gives you the emotional torque. Like a couple, like when they did the tag, and we saw how the animation showed, the how frenetic it is, but also how whimsical it is when Momo uses her powers to swing like Spider-Man across the buildings. Now over here we see the same type of similar type of camera movement, but it has a more somber and sadness to it as we watch the progression of the mother and daughter here, um, and that's when we get to this part, which I'm still trying to figure out if this is real. No, it's animated. This is actually animated. Oh, sorry. This is actually animated, and it's it's amazing how the movement of the camera made it look so realistic. Like I really thought it was live action, but it's very clear here that it's all animated, if not CGI'd, and that's freaking impressive. And to show from the mother's point of view, the frenetic panic, the want to rescue her daughter as she was being taken away to a horrific fate. It is a horrific fate, no doubt. Um, it holds so much tragedy. Um, yeah, and then we find out, and of course we get from Ira's point of view, you know, her own mother having having passed away. You know, now we have a very well executed narrative in which we have a daughter who yearns for her mother and a mother who yearns for her daughter, and they end up finding surrogates from each other, acrobatic Silky and Ira, um, in what is quite possibly a very powerful and touching moment here. Momo, of course, total groom don't attack, because again, Momo really, I guess we could say this is what you call that, empathy. Like she really feels like empathy is really shown hard here through Momo. First with the crab, the Heike crab, Heike Kani, and all the teenage girls that were fused into it, and moving on to the afterlife. And now here with acrobatic Silky, um, you know, we get these two together. Um, yeah, one final hug here. Like this was such a great scene. And again, they skipped a couple of panels. I highly recommend reading the manga to see those missing panels because it wasn't translated here. Um, which again has such it has a lot more impact. It's very impactful. And I'm not gonna explain to you what the panels are. Read it yourself. This still did a great job in terms of adaptation. It still was executed flawlessly, but the manga will hit even harder. The manga panels hit way harder. Um, actually do hit way harder than you can imagine. Um, you know, and and another surprise too is the fact that they added dialogue. They added dialogue to that whole to the whole scene. You know, saying only at certain parts, not the whole thing. If I remember correctly, the manga doesn't have dialogue. It was just all panels, straight up imagery. But here they blended the two together. You know, they put some dialogue in there and a lot of quiet moments. But let me tell you something. Uh, this story this story does not pull punches. I could tell you this right now. Okay, it's been lighthearted for the most part, but this is but now that you know, but I can understand why it starts off lighthearted. Even though it did have even though they showed the girls with the crab, that was just to establish that there was going to be some serious very important moments of levity and such. But the primary part, I could see why the author kept it lighthearted for the most part, is to get the readers acclimated to the idea that all myths are real, that there are aliens and there are spirits, yokai, coexisting at the same time, and you got to get that suspension of disbelief. But um, but it, but the it wasn't gonna be lost, um, basically, to the fact that that this is still serious stuff going on. You know, if I could, that there are serious moments. Um, how do you say? And Yokonobu Tatsu, um, I could see trying to establish the suspension of disbelief, but allowed for that one moment, at least with the with the Hikikani, that there is some seriousness, some importance, but it wasn't. Even though it was treated with seriousness, it didn't. It was just more like how you say an orientation type of thing, a preparation of what will be, of what would be to come. And this whole entire acrobatic silky arc part here shows exactly how um, uh, serious it would get. I don't want to say dark. That's a dumb phrase to put that. And note, and it's not a tonal shift or anything. Basically everything leading up to this point was in preparation of what we were going to really experience for the rest of this show. And yeah, yeah. All I gotta say to all of you is be ready. Read the manga if you want to get far ahead of the anime, but um, yeah, be ready because this is This is no longer a taste. This is for real now. The Hekakani was just a taste. Now you're seeing what Dandadan is truly about. You know what I'm saying? It's not just the romance and the all myths are real. This is a story of for keeps. You know, you understand what I'm saying? Like this is a story where everything can be for keeps. Um, can be for keeps, and there's no backing out. There's none of this shonen death cop out that we see in like One Piece, Alabasta Arc, or Fairy Tale, where everybody, you know, is having these moments that they're going to self-sacrifice and die forever only to come back alive. Oh, jeez. No. Dandadan is definitely playing for keeps. You know, you dead, you dead. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of you will say, "Oh, well, Ira, well, actually, it was brought back to life." But that was really more of a world rule than uh, that was more of a world rule to establish. I know a lot of you will say, "Well, Ira died and she came back." That was to establish a world rule. That's not the same. That's not the same as um, watching like uh, watching Fairy Tale, where one of the characters having all this flashback, you know, life flashing before their eyes and everything. And then they start doing the sacrificial move, and then moments later they're alive. You know, saying faking the deaths. That's not the same. You know, establishing a world rule is not the same. But yeah, yeah. This is gonna be from this point forward. It's a wild ride. You're gonna love it. I could tell that right now. You're gonna love what comes after this. Now that you know that moments like this is gonna happen, you're gonna love this series more. If you haven't loved it already, this series will not fail you. Yokinobu Tatsu is just created a masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. This is a masterpiece. So head on over to barnesandnoble.com and amazon.com and grab yourself a copy of The Impossible Man, a strange fantasy novel written by me. You'll find links to the book in the description down below, along with links to other merch such as pins, stickers, t-shirts, music. Please enjoy the products. Thank you for your patronage. And if you do any YouTube videos on The Impossible Man, fan videos, lore videos, theories, all that cool stuff, I look forward to seeing those videos, and thank you for making those videos. And if you want, you could join me on my live multi-stream on Twitch and Kick every Monday through Thursday, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to hanging out with you. So until the next round of Dandadan research, I wish you all a good night, buenas noches, and oisumi nasai.